Hey, welcome to People Think About It. We're back, and today we're going to talk about the skin game. We got an author in the house, our special guest, Kelton. He's the author of the book called Skin Game. So, and we've had discussions about light skin, dark skin. Why do people go get light skin people? Why they go get dark skin? So we're going to touch on the skin game. And we're going to welcome in Mustafa. So, Mustafa, tell us a little bit about your book, The Skin Game, and what is the book about?
Well, to elaborate, let me explain that I don't want it to be a connotation because of what you had ad-lib as far as adding light skin and dark skin and what we call colorism. And that's not a part of the book. But it's a subject within the book, so we're just going to go ahead and put it in, right? And there's always going to be a financial connection when it comes to racism. Black people, let me say it again, black people cannot be racist. Racism is a team sport, and that means that it involves power. Politics and money go to politics and money come together, and it's affected by race because the bottom line is to marginalize, cascade, and emasculate the African man to keep us out of the wealth generating machine here in the Western Hemisphere. Why? Because when the European came to Africa, we had the gold, we had the diamonds, we had the women. They had the Bible and the cross. Erroneously, brother left out saying, no, they had the gun, the Bible, and the cross. We closed our eyes, woke up. When we opened up our eyes, they had the diamonds, they had the gold, they had our women, and we had the Bible and the cross, but not the gun.
So let me ask you this. In touching it, because of the title Skin Game, do you think that we have done some of this stuff to ourselves because of how we set back as a race of people and we belittle each other, or we don't try to uplift each other and stuff, but we quick to blame it on somebody else about what we don't have or what we can't. And I just think for me, I know you can't ignore slavery or the skin game or whatever, but for me, I think that is some people use it as a crutch. And they never ever experienced slavery, or they never ever experienced being racist, or they never experienced a skin color thing. So I think that some of it is just us. Some of it is us.
No, let's. So one girl that I follow, she's Ethiopian, original word Habesha. I don't even like using the Greek word. Nothing European. Because this place. Let me tell you something. One part is the fact that they always said that blacks or Muslim invaders sold off black people to the Europeans. That's not true. What this was not slavery. This was, well, let's call it a thing, genocide. It was a complete eradication of our race for financial gain. It's capitalism. Think about it. For 400 years, you had unlimited resources from what? Sea to shining.
Okay, so why we don't have those unlimited resources today?
Oh, they're still here. Only the 1%.
Okay, and I think that some of it comes from us neglecting one another, not uplifting one another. What do you say about that, Dominique?
The part is that it is engineered within our DNA for self-hate.
Well, the point is that the way you change self-hate is to change yourself.
Well, let's go back to business. When you have white people that boycott black businesses, there's not ever going to be a white man that goes into a black neighborhood, walks into a black business and buys a black product. So also number two, black people also boycott
black people.
Yes. Why?
And so that's my point. We don't support one another as a nation.
This is part of the book.
So what I'm saying to you is that when you talk about support, if we support our own, then we don't have to survive on another race. I mean, Asians support Asians, Ethiopians support Ethiopians, the Indians support Indians. Jump right in, Dominique, whenever you feel.
I mean, no, I 110% agree. I mean, when it comes to the African American community, we suck, and a lot of it is because I feel like we don't truly believe in ourselves. I feel like, you know, it is something that may be instilled in its own little way. You know, and then like Mustafa said, Chinese folks ain't coming to our neighborhood. You know, white people.
They coming with a business.
Yeah, they coming with a business. They trying to buy us out, or they trying to shut us down, or you know.
It's the reason why. But listen, let me tell you something. Who's complicit? And I'm gonna give you the cheat code, right? But it's in the book, so I'm not gonna give you the hack. I'm gonna give you the. Excuse me, I said it better. I'm gonna give you the hack, but I'm not gonna give you the cheat code. You know, just like this USB. So, for decades, American business and American government, it's not monolithic. It's all on different sides. So they use this as a power base, right? Like this executive, legislative, and judicial branches, separation of powers. No, it's not. Don't believe that, because it's always them versus us, right? Like you say, it's no I in team. Yes, it is. There's a me in it, because me sees that they did not want Chinese, or they didn't want Asians. They had it codified, the anti-Chinese immigration law. It's even in the movie Tombstone, anti-Chinese immigration league. But who was building the railroads, Deal? Who's digging all the holes of John Henry? So white folks did not want them to get money and move in their neighborhood. So they only gave them loans, right, in our neighborhood, because we couldn't even get loans to buy homes and open up business on our own. So because of that, they only gave them loans. And this is from an Asian's mouth. He's my Korean neighbor who owned what? What do they most own? Liquor stores.
Because we sold the liquor stores in our hood.
Exactly. Now I'm gonna get to that part.
So here's what I'm saying, because I'm the kind of person that we can't deny history, okay, and we can't deny the things that happen in history. But for me, when people of our color sit back and start coming with all this historical things, and they never even experienced any of it, you know, and they go and blame their demise, or they go blame their not having on history, when there's so much opportunity in the world today. I feel like there's so much opportunity in the world. I mean, it's just like right now the world is moving to like AI. But when you tell people, hey, you know what, pick up on that AI because it's coming and this and that. But a lot of us don't want to do that, because society has made it with all the videos and stuff, like everybody wants a get rich quick scheme. So to me, when you sit back and you start talking about the Asians, the Indians, the white people and all that, I just say, for me, you can't come at me like that. I mean, because even in society today, I mean, young people, they just had celebrated Martin Luther King. There's a lot of people that young people now don't even know who the heck Martin Luther King stood for.
Well, back to business. So there's 3 parts. Just like that young lady that attempted to burn down his historical purpose. That is a historical preservation. So we'll move past that. But here is the thing, that's the reason why he was assassinated. Say they don't show the video when he was talking about that, but you understand. I understand the pain point. Let's skip history. One is we'll go run and buy Chanel and Ferragamo, Gucci,
and Louis Vuitton,
Mercedes Benz, right? Because the Koreans, they don't do that. I had an argument about that up the street. But then also you understand the pain points when you don't have the power of the oppressor. You'll try to buy the things to imitate the oppressor. We are oppressed.
No, you know what? And I'll say this. And I saw this video the other day, and it made so much sense to me, right? They say when you go to the rich neighborhood, it's quiet in the rich neighborhood. When you come to our neighborhood, it's loud. You know, we got all, like he just said, all the designer stuff on, the party and the tweaking. It's loud. But when you go to a neighborhood where people got money, it's quiet.
It's a noise ordinance law.
It's quiet. So you know, it's just like, you know, like I say, I'm not sitting here and taking anything away from us that has happened to us as a people, as a culture. And, you know, a lot of people try to steal our culture. But to me, when I look at today's society, today's youth, you can't sit up here and cry wolf to me about slavery, about this, that, and the other, and you still running around here killing each other. You still running around here, and the first thing you know, no, let's face it, we don't make guns, but we sure go buy them. We go buy guns and we use them in our community. But you know what? You kill who you're around. If white people around white people, they're gonna kill white people. If black people around black people, they're gonna kill black people.
Black on black crime is an erroneous misnomer. We need to get rid of that, because I understand, just like with credit, now black people are getting access to wealth. Maybe 1% of 1% is where we're at, but now with credit and everything, whatever, there always is the underbelly with the fraud and whatnot. But I understand with the credit, they're preying on us, these corporations, because I understand the pain points, and I understand
how the corporation preying on.
One is called predatory lending. In your hometown in Baltimore, Bank of America was complicit in what is called, quote unquote, redlining.
Yeah, I know what that is.
And a lot of people outside of Baltimore, they watched the movie Wire, but that's one of the reasons that it happened. It wasn't the drugs. The drugs came after Bank of America created predatory lending, where people were buying homes, so they overpriced the mortgage. So this is with a balloon mortgage, you have to get that one with a standard, or what is called a FHA loan. So imagine if the house is worth $250,000, but then they give you a loan for more, and then they shoot the interest rate, knowing that you're not going to be able to afford to pay it. Same way with cars. What's going on now? It's tax season. We can go outside now. It's raining crazy. Everybody driving around. Everybody got a drive-out tag. What comes after the drive-out tag? The tow truck.
But see, to me, but see, to me, and this is where I'm going with it. And Dominique, we want you in here to give us from your perspective. But where I'm going with it now is that you say these things, but there's so much information out there that you can make yourself very knowledgeable to what's going on. Like you just now said, okay, it's tax time, everybody running to buy a car. Well, guess what? You should go and get educated on what it do to buy a car.
Yeah, but I just feel like we don't educate ourselves in that way.
And that's what I'm saying.
And that, I feel like that is, we can't blame that on anything. And I have this conversation all the time with my mom. I talk to her and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. We do have all these resources, and some of us are making it. I think when it comes to, and even in my own experience, right? We don't work as team. Like, we're not team players, right? It's like, if you got it, then you got it. I got it. You're gonna have to spend $15,000 for me to give you the tea on how to get here.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's always something. And not saying that in other, races or whatever, they don't do the same thing, but I feel like it's more geared to us. Like, when it comes to
exactly like the knowledge you have,
right?
Then it's just like you take, like, right now you go on social media, everybody's an investor now. Hey, you do this, I'm gonna peep you and show you the game or how to invest and all this. It's just like I think that sometimes we have lack of, because we don't educate ourselves, because we don't want to take the time to read, we don't want to take the time to research. And then when you have those people that have taken the time to read and research, they prey on you.
Yes.
Because
that's a part of the book.
That's because you don't have
resources,
or you just don't want to use the intelligence that God gave you to go research it for yourself. You
don't know what you don't know. But because one of the things also, like, why is it that I went to go buy a product, skincare? I want that. I'm going to have that, because I go in there, and when we automatically, the whole thing is about copyright infringement and franchise, like you said in Frank Denzel Washington character Frank Lucas said in American Gangster. Let's keep it gangster. That's the whole point of business, is to create a product or a service, and then market it, and then move out of the red, which is dead, into the black. What's one place that we all know that is red, black, and green? And when you put a certain thing on there and you let it ride, put your money on what? Always bet on what? Black. Because the black dollar is the most powerful thing in America. It funds the military defense. It funds pharmaceutical industry. It funds banking investment. Why? Because they can take it and never ever have to give it back. So there is no return on the investment. It's not an investment. The reason why white people are the way they are, because they had this certain sense of privilege and entitlement. They still own us because they own a part of the game. For example, what's called in the book, pass-through securities. When you go to these buy here, pay here places, and it's like 36. Poppy go over there too. He go over there, Buford Highway, Beaver Run, whatever. But they don't have the resources we have. So then when you buy this in a buy here, pay here place, and then it's called a pass. They sell it's pass-through security. They sell that loan to somebody else. Mm-hmm. That's illegal. That's money laundering and counterfeit all on another level. But the other part is, how come we don't have these things for ourselves to help the people who are impoverished? Because the whole thing about the hood is to get out the hood.
Well, it goes back to what Dominique said, because you know the game and you don't want to share the game because you create genocide because you're going to use your own people to profit from your own people.
Well, I did that because, like, okay, for example, when my lady friend had bought a house in South Atlanta, and I had to explain to her, you're not from here. This is Southwest Atlanta. You already know in the news what's going on. So, you know, the goons, the hoods was in there. They were selling drugs. They sitting on the property because the house had been empty for a while. And what I told her is that you have a house on the corner lot. You have the nicest house. It's renovated. So they didn't want to leave. So, we had some confrontations or whatever. And, you know, they see that we have nice cars and we're going to work or whatever. And somebody said that's the reason why it's called the hood. Right, because there's only three forms of income in the hood, and the first one is people that own businesses and whatever and go to work every day. Then the second one is people that are on welfare and assistance, and the third one is criminal business. So that's the reason why the other people leave, and then it's not a neighborhood no more. It just becomes the hood. So I explained that to them, and I said, "Listen, it's not going to be me that runs you out, partner." And, you know, they seeing me, you know, I had when I got my new vehicle, when I got my new truck, and it was like, man, that's nice, man. They go hard, whatever. I could have showed them how to do it, right? But the part was when I came back from a football game and K9 units, APD came in, and it was so tactical the way that they just shut the whole neighborhood. That was a military exercise, but it was in preparation for they didn't look behind. So look behind your homeboy, buddy. The whole brand new housing development, right? Whole brand new townhouses. Then number two is what's the one thing that's in white neighborhoods that's not in black neighborhoods? What's one thing you can't do in white neighborhoods? You can't speed through there. Speed bumps. Then there's a school across the street. Now everybody knows if you get caught selling drugs, you think like near a schoolyard.
But Mustafa,
money pushed them out.
But what I'm saying is this.
Money pushed them out.
But no.
Not
See,
the police,
let me tell you something. No.
Mustafa,
calm down. First of all, when I call them Black Panther, Black Power Negroes, they don't find nothing wrong with what they do.
They're clowns.
But no. I'm not saying Black Panthers per se, the organization Black Panther. I'm talking about Negroes that get around here and talk all this black this and black this and black people this and black, and they ain't doing nothing to empower their people.
They ain't got a dollar in their pocket.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, if we base it upon what you just said, that how do we empower our own communities? How do we sit back and those people, like Dominique was saying, I got information, I want to educate y'all.
Because
matter of fact, not to cut you, it's just like I read the other day on social media, the school that LeBron James opened up, every 8th grader in there failed the math test. Everyone failed them
because the school is only a market. That's a marketing scheme, and that's just for show.
No, I mean you really can't say it's a marketing scheme because he took his own black dollars and opened this school, and to me that's the negligence of the teachers.
His own black dollar. He's an employee.
But whether Mustafa, when you bought your truck, did you buy it with your money? Did you buy it with your money?
That breaks the rule of business. That's in the book.
Did you buy it with your money?
Of course not.
So you wouldn't have signed your name on something, or you had somebody else co-sign for you?
No, I went in there with their check.
And where'd you get the check from?
From my bank.
And whose money is it?
It's the bank's money. That's the first rule of business. It's in the book.
So it's the bank's money.
Yeah.
And who did the bank give that money to?
They gave it to me.
And who's entitled? Who owes that money? When they bank want their money back? Who got to give them the money back?
Me.
Okay, your money. Thank you. Don't. Come on, man. Let's not play these kind of.
What's the first rule? No.
We ain't talking about though. We're not going to talk about the first rule of business. My thing is this:
OPM, other people's money. You don't own anything in America.
I understand OPS, other people assets.
OPM, other people money,
same
not
thing.
assets. Assets and money are two different things.
But Mustafa,
you know that.
Mustafa, check this out. You're sitting here and you're really talking crazy.
No, you're not going to make me the focal point of this.
No, because you the one wrote the book. And what I'm saying is you sitting here and you blame it. Wait, Mustafa, listen. I'm telling you what you said is in your book. What you said in your book, you can call it other people's money or whatever. When you sign your name on that dotted line, that man give you that check. It's your check. It's your money. You can go do whatever you want with it.
That's Capital One's money. I got to pay that back. That's what you don't own anything in America.
Mustafa, whether you got to pay it back or not, whether you got to pay it back or whether you choose not to pay it back.
Right.
You tell me, if it's a cheat code, tell me how somebody can go out here and buy a house or a car without using the bank money.
When we tell him, Mrs. Clark. What do me and Mrs. Clark have in common? What do we have?
Nothing.
Yes, we do. We are both licensed in the state of Georgia to sell all financial products, excluding securities. One way to do it, the first way it was created, residual income and generational wealth, is one thing most black people have: insurance policies.
Okay.
Insurance policies.
That part right there. I'm going to agree on that.
I agree on that. I agree on that.
Yeah. They use us as collateral. But insurance companies is complicit because they use slaves as collateral in order to build
But you have, it goes back to what Dominique, it goes back to what Dominique say. Okay, you saying that, and you can go educate. I done seen my wife do it because, like you say, she's selling. I done seen her educate. I done heard people tell her, "Oh, God got me." I done heard. I done heard people tell her, "No, I you know what? That's too much." Wait a minute. Let me say it. And then I done had people say that's too much and stuff. So what I'm saying is the wisdom, the education, and the knowledge that we have, or what you have about insurance, you go try to give it to your people. They don't want it. They rather stand out on the corner and try to hustle some money because they like what's in their pocket. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying, education is very, very valuable. You know what I mean?
Well, the part is the fact. Well, this is how I had, like I just told Ms. Dorshell, I recalibrate 180. Insurance sells itself, just like drugs. Ain't nobody force you to do nothing. So when they start with that, you be like, okay, boom, you losing out. What I do is where my associates is, I started doing the one thing that I don't run away from your destiny. You gonna run headlong into, because I come from a family of educators. I just had to pick my subject, like you said. My niche is financial literacy and education. But unfortunately, with black people, what was said to me, a failed business, the owner of a failed business, they said two things. One, that I seen them abruptly leave, and they had I would say a territorial issue. They didn't like the store owner next to them. But what he said to me when I came to him, because we have what is called a key person insurance policy. If anything happens in the business, it can keep it going because that's the idea. Or you have a particular person that is running the business like a CEO. So he said, unfortunately, most black people don't have a financial advisor. They don't want to take advice from people unless that person is already financially successful. And that's where
I go to stop blaming it on the white man. Because if you got the knowledge and you come share it with another brother or sister, then somewhere you got to tune their ears in.
No, his first mistake was they moved here as a young couple, few years, a little bit older than you, Dominique. What they thought was coming from New York. They was young, right? Beautiful couple, but unfortunately, they thought that they could come to Atlanta, Georgia, and this is supposed to be the black Mecca, and people will welcome them with open arms. No, because we are the only people, after everything has been done to us and still being done to us, they tell us, well, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. I ain't got no feet. What you talking about? So that was their first failure, right? But their husband and wife, they're working together. I get it. But number two is, they didn't have the time to research and do the funds. They didn't have the time.
So then that's where you step in and educate them, right?
That means I would have to go to their place of business. I would have to go do.
But that's not to go. You're not answering my question. That's when you would step in and educate them, correct?
And that's when they ended up.
Is that correct?
They left.
Mustafa,
they ran away. They ran away.
Is that? But I'm saying, is that when you see that they're not educated enough to understand their policy. That's when you step in and you educate them because you know,
but
right?
then you say about...
Wait a minute. Listen, answer my question, though.
Yes, but just like...
Okay, but then that goes back to what I'm saying is that we as a people, and I'm not saying all of us, but we get here and we try to find out every excuse why not to, instead of trying to find a reason to do it. So we sit back, you share the education with them, but then they sit back and whether they lose their business or whether they can't sustain their business, hey, they had that opportunity of somebody that was educated about something to give it to them, and we don't like listening because we want a quick fix. We want it instant gratification.
Well, I mean,
that's my statement.
You don't know what you don't know, but the part is black people really need to get their behinds off their shoulders. So, when you're into financial education and literacy, whatever, I can't make you open up the book and study. I can give you all the information, but and the knowledge, but it doesn't become power until you apply it. It has to be applicable. And I don't talk in theories and hypotheticals. I speak in only facts, right? And we're not dealing with the facts, right? The same way going back to dating. Even when dating and marrying, whatever, white people, right, marry from the neck up. Black folks marry from the neck down.
I know. See, when people say stuff like that, that's just.
I don't know. I feel like when it comes to that part, white people are prepared to get married, right? Yes. They spend their life and they're prepared for marriage. So by the time they get out of high school, they got their whole life set out. Johnny and Crystal, they're going to get married and they're going to have kids. They're trained. They're brought up like that. We are not. We're not brought up to. We're not groomed properly. We don't listen. We're here to show off for each other, right? Mm-hmm. To say, oh, well, I got this and I got that. It is never a place where we're like, yeah, let me help you. And if I help you, it comes with some type of ulterior motive behind it, right? It's and what I've learned in the last 3 years of my life, unfortunately, is that we have to be open to allowing each other in, because if not, we do create these spaces for the white man to come in or the whoever man to come in and destroy us, right? So like right now, not to say too much, but my family has been going through this whole process when it comes to finances and trust and things like that, and it's nobody in my family understands any of that. Now, I'm probably one of the only ones, maybe two of us, right, out of my whole family that understands trust and, insurance and things like that. The rest of them are not knowledgeable. So right now what's happening is you got the white man just running all up and through it, just had a field day, right? Because we don't know anything.
Right.
We don't try to know anything. We just sit back and say, well, somebody will figure it out. Somebody will tell me. I have this conversation on a monthly basis with my folks, and I'm like, well, where's the paperwork, right? Y'all just signing on the dotted. You don't even know what you're reading.
Because they want the money.
They want the money. They don't want to read. They don't want to understand. We don't. It's like we just want everybody to, because, we were enslaved and this, we just want people to just give it to us. Well, I mean, we gotta work too. We gotta put some work in so we understand what we're getting ourselves into.
Well,
and then some of the stuff is generational. You know what I mean? Because when you take like my generation of people, when you take that and I look at my mother and father, my grandparents, and my grandparents' parents. My grandparents' parents were probably in slavery. They probably was deep into slavery, right? So they probably really didn't have any money or knew anything much about finance. Then you had my parents, which was my grandparents, which was coming out of it, and their way of finance was stick it under the mattress, or hide it somewhere in the house. So that's what they taught my parents, right? So now you got that's two generations right there. Now here come the third generation where my parents were sticking stuff in the mattress, and then all of a sudden somebody introduced them to a bank, right? So it's like they sticking it under the mattress, they putting part of it in the bank and stuff. So here my generation come along. My parents think the bank is the greatest thing since apple pie. So here we got 4 generations of people that deal with finances differently. Now you take my children, which people start teaching them about compound interest and investing and stuff like that. But it was still, now you go from the bank to go to Wall Street. Well, now a lot of us to this day still don't understand Wall Street and how it works. But it's like I say, you take all these, you go on all these social media sites, everybody in the world, I'm going to teach you how to invest. You know, you got the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency and all this. And a lot of us don't understand that. So a lot of us getting ripped off with that. And why? Because we don't take the time to go understand it. Whether it's insurance, you know, we can sit here and like I said, my wife sells insurance and you know, I know you sell insurance. But I know when you go to our community of people and tell them about insurance, they start telling you about God.
Yes.
They start telling you about God. That's who they tell you about. They God got me. But guess what? When something happened to them, and you know, beyond, because most of us understand insurance from a death standpoint. They don't understand it from the point you were saying about an investment part. They understand, well, if somebody die, we're going to get a little bit of money. But yeah, you put that burden on your family because you die, then you got to do with this modern day thing, GoFundMe account and all this other kind of stuff because, like you say, Dominique, we didn't want to take the time out to educate ourselves. As soon as we see more than 3 zeros, we like, oh, we got some money here. And we want to sign our life away. Right. You know what? That person might sit down there and say, hey, you know what? You're going to get 30,000 when you could have got 300,000 because you just saw 30 and you never had 30,000. Exactly. And because you never had 30,000, because I can tell you this, in our community, a lot of people think $30,000 is a lot of money. And in today's society, 30,000 ain't no money.
Well, I will. Okay, the other part of the book, Skin Game, is the fact that I was amazed that you shared that with me about your family because I'm privy to that because I've seen it. And it happened because if in the black community, if somebody uses their talent and ability, right, we applaud that. I've had this conversation. You know, we shouldn't hate on that. That's that person's talent. That's what they doing. But unfortunately, later on in life, one of the biggest demographics is that 65% of wealth that we create is to be left to somebody else. But at the same time, when this person put in all of the blood, sweat, and tears into their business, and I've seen before that, like for example, especially if they're famous and talented in entertainment, they end up dying without the will. So what happened in my family is that, you know, we had generational wealth and it got squandered. I just returned from out of town and I sat there and it was $40,000 on the table. Now, what was explained to me was I'm trying to figure out, not to be messy, but we in the sticks. Where does boy get this money from? You know, and I was around family I hadn't seen in years. Now, here's the point. It's always about status, not status quo, and prestige. We want to look important. So one of my family members was, I just keep it real, you know, my brother was excluded purposely, right? Because we had to figure out the deeds and the property and everything like that because it was such a mess. Because with dying without the will or explicit testimony said, this is how I want things done from my estate. That's what trust. Then you have what is called irrevocable trust, like with Jeffrey Epstein. None of those victims or so-called victims are going to get paid. I'm sorry, right? But lastly, when I was dealing with my family, we had two generations of survival of this property and the things that we still owned. But it was such a mess because you had one part of the family that they used all of the resources, right? Because this person had talent. Mm-hmm. They didn't do anything with the talent except stay in the hood and make a whole bunch of babies. Then secondly, you have the one that's, you know, like we say, self-made, not affiliated. She became, you know, educated, got, you know, finished, and now she's an HR specialist. But none of the family that had this wealth helped her. And then her father was the youngest recipient. He had talent, and because of the money, this is what we also do. The mental health part was he was an All-American football player on one side that played football for the other side. So the other side used to put people in the NFL. He fell into the other part that happened to genocide, the part of this game, the drug game. So when I think back, right, the part of the book is not to escape it or to cure that. let's move away from the gender wars, right? Because that's a dollar sign on it. I don't care what nobody says. You need to get away from these grifters. But in the book, and what I see in my experience, like when your family that I'm privy to, and then with my family, is we have to get more education, and you can't sell that. You can't market that. Because
that's why they got universities.
Do it that
they sell it and market it well. Yes. It's called universities.
And when it became, a lot of people know when universities became for-profit entities, right? Like our former president, he's complicit in that too. He had one. He's being sued for that. So who do they go to that's going to get these degrees? Who's going to get master's degree? You, sister, not me. A lot of black women are always saying that I got this and I got that, even in my own family. And it was said to my mother, and she was denied education too. She said, well, I don't understand why you want, accept me into the family, whatever. I come from a very well-educated family. My mom said, what's that mean to me? I come from a family of educators. We built colleges. So I said, Mom, you should have told her. I wish I'd been there. Okay, let me give you a first introduction. 101. Child, you like school on a Sunday. No class.
This skin game, you can see, can get very deep, because of lack of education, lack of knowledge,
lack of swag, lack of
and for the things that you can sit back and look at some of the things that you desire that really makes no financial sense, and you go out and you participate in that. And like we talk about in the beginning, of supporting one another as a culture, as black people, we sit back and we wear the Louis Vuitton, the Gucci, and the Prada and everything, but we can have a black designer to come out and we don't really put their clothes on, but we'll go put some Louis Vuitton or some Gucci on in a minute, and we just gotta sit back and better educate ourselves, open our minds, open our investment minds to the point that let's get educated, black people. Let's get educated and try to understand the skin game. Let's not make it personal, but let's uplift each other. We wish you all well. We want y'all to keep listening to People Think About It. Keep listening to us at peoplethinkaboutit.com. You can go onto our YouTube page at People Think About It and check out our new videos that we have. We want to welcome our guests again. We want to welcome, thank Mustafa for coming in and educating us about the skin game. We always welcome our co-host, Miss Dominique. We appreciate you coming in every week. So we just want to sit back and say, you know what? Keep listening to People Think About It. And we welcome you back every Wednesday. We see a new episode at 8 p.m. We will be going live soon.
Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thank you for listening.